In anything in life, there's always some sort of misconception or misinformation that gets spread about something, either on purpose or by accident, or just a misunderstanding of the whole situation in general. And Hell Let Loose is no different. In a game like Hell Let Loose, there's a lot to know, but there's also a lot of things that get said by players that they think they know, but really is incorrect. So in this video, we're going to go dig down back into that myth well and bust 5 more myths about Hell Let Loose. Now, some of these do come from the comment section of the last myth-busting video we did, so I will give appropriate honors to those who put in the comment section which ones I have taken, and some of them were pretty good, and it actually gave me inspiration for a couple others in this video that I pulled from. So I do appreciate you guys putting that in the comment section of the last video, and if you have some more that you maybe want to see tested, or you know are myths that have been told, leave in the comment section of this video. But let's get started on 5 more myths busted in Hell Let Loose. The first myth we're going to bust here, it comes from Big Steve 0091. Myth: as the commander, you need to place the ability reinforce inside the strong point for it to work. I believe you can put it anywhere in the 4 squares for it to work. Myth: test it. So although this one is one that really isn't game-changing or breaking, yes, you are correct. You can place it anywhere in the 4 squares and it will count towards your defense weight. So the reinforce, as it works, it adds defensive cap weight to your objective. And if you have it placed down in the 4 squares, because that's the only place it'll actually let you for an objective, it will add to the cap weight. Now to show this off, I got my friend from ZFG, Death Machine GR, to help me show off what the reinforce does in terms of you can place it anywhere and it'll work. So I'm sitting in the cap circle and now it's suddenly contested, and it's just me and him on the same server, essentially in a 1v1. Now that means he is in the circle with me, since the cap weight counts as 3 for anyone in the circle. But once I go to put the reinforce down, and as you see here, I kind of show where you can drop it. It's within the 4 squares of the objective that can be attacked. Once I drop it down, we go from contested to captured. Simple as that. While we're on the topic of reinforcements, let's go over a common misconception with those who like to put reinforcements down when it's way too late because the circle's been completely overrun. Is that if you put a reinforce down, anyone in the 4 squares will have their defensive capture power doubled. This is false. It only applies to those in the circle itself. Now, I'll leave a video link describing capture circles and capture zones and how they work in all its entirety, but long story short with the reinforce is if you're in the circle, you get the capture bonuses. If you're outside the circle, then you don't. As we already showed, when he was in the cap circle and I didn't have the reinforce down, it was equal cap weight. But now that I'm outside the circle, he has a higher cap weight, and the reinforce does not apply. But once I get in the circle, I'm immediately defending. So that means the capture power is now applied to my defense bonuses. So this next one is one that used to get thrown around a lot and has kind of died down a little bit, but I think it's still very prevalent to the game and how we understand the rocket launchers of all the factions. The whole thing being if the Panzerschreck is more powerful than the rest of the other factions. This is not true. However, there are some aspects of this little myth that are somewhat true. Now, the way we compare this here is by using the American rocket launcher. So what you're going to see here is I'm going to bounce off 2 shots from the Panzer IV. So because the American rocket launcher cannot pierce the medium tanks at any angle except for the back or hitting the tracks. So, and what I do here is to show that I can penetrate is that I'm going to reload and I'm going to shoot the back of it and destroy the tank. So there's that. But once we get into the Panzerschreck, I show off that we can actually kill the tank from the sides. Meaning that it's not the power that matters, it's the penetration of the rocket launcher. Now that is a big difference from understanding the damage compared to penetration, which is the thing that I think is misunderstood with the rocket launchers to a decent degree. The damage numbers or damage values for the rocket launchers are all the same, but the penetrations are different. Now, as you see here, I'm attacking the M4 Sherman from the side, and I'm piercing it with ease. And once I load the second one and hit it another time, the Sherman explodes. Kind of like what I did with the Panzer IV. It took the same amount of rockets, and it's the same class of tank. Now, to kind of spell out all this and give you a reference of what I'm talking about, here is the penetrations of all the rocket launchers from the US, Russian, the German, the British, and even the AT rifles, just to give you an actual reference of what I'm talking about, and how the US rocket launcher can't even pierce the sides of medium tanks, but the Panzerschreck and the PIAT can pierce the front of medium tanks. It just goes to show you the penetration values are different for the bazookas, not the damage numbers. They're all exactly the same in terms of damage numbers, but the penetrations are different. Continuing back on the trend of capture circles and capture points in general, we have a myth from S.I. White here talking about more people in the capture zone, the quicker it goes. And yes, this is indeed false. And I feel like I have heard this one a couple times back in the day, but I wanted to go over it because it is a good one to go over. Now, the way it works for capture zones on whatever game mode you play, it does not matter how many people you have in the cap circle, you just have to have enough to be more than either the attacker or defender, depending on the situation. Now, what I'm doing here is I rode in to Oleg's house here, and I started capturing. It only should take 2 minutes to capture this objective, and it's just me on the lobby, so there's no one else on either team but me. And as we go through it here, I'm going to kind of speed this up here, just going through here to show you, as you can take a look at the clock to make sure I'm not shortchanging you or lying to you. But as we transition here, the clock runs up to about 2 minutes, and boom, we've captured the point. Simple as that. Now, to show off the cap circle progress, when I have 2 people, we start our timer at 1:22:20. Big shout out to Hutch for helping me out getting my footage. Appreciate her for coming on the server to help me out. But so we're going to go through here. We're capping the objective. It's just me and her on the server. I'm going to fast forward here just to keep it going. But like I said, we started the timer at 1:22:20. And as we get going here, it's 1:20:20 is our ending time, which means it takes 2 minutes on Warfare to cap an objective, regardless of who you have and where at in the circle or outside the circle. This last myth comes from Einark Gulbranson 7177. I apologize if I butcher your name. I've seen you a couple times around the channel, so I appreciate this. So you cannot drop supply with a truck in the first 2 rows. True on Warfare, false on offensive. You can drop supply in the first 2 rows of the defending team on offensive mode as long as it's not the last defending point of the 4 defending squares. Yes, this is very true. So the thing with supply trucks is they work very weirdly of where you can place your supplies depending on game mode. Now, the footage you see in front of you right now is on Warfare mode on Kursk. I am taking a supply truck to get past the first 2 rows of the HQ sectors, and then you will see I'll be able to drop my supplies. Therefore, showing that part is true. So you cannot drop your supplies in any of the HQ sectors or the first 2 sectors where your HQ starts. As you see, I drove back in, can't do anything. So there's that part. Now let's swap over to an offensive map as the attacking team. So I'm on the attacking side. I have not taken a single square or single objective at all. I'm inside my HQ on the attacking side, but immediately I can drop my supplies. So as you saw on the map, there's a little supply canister, and I'm just going to build something with it. I'll show it off here, but I place my supplies, I build a garrison, bada bing, bada boom. Now let's flip this and go on an offensive game mode, but now as the defending team. So I've spawned a supply truck early here on the middle HQ, and I can drop my supplies as long as I'm not blocked by terrain. But if I start heading towards the HQ sector with the objective in it, in this case it's all the way up in the north, it will not allow me to drop supplies in those sectors, as you'll see here as we drive closer to the objective, and well, suddenly I can't drop supplies anymore. So that should show off at least how supply trucks work. I do have a short talking about this in just very specific detail. I'll leave a link down below in the description. So that is 5 more myths busted in Hell Let Loose, and I appreciate you guys being in the comment section of the last one, giving me a couple ideas. There were some good ones to test there. There's still a couple good ones I probably could have went into more detail about. So I do appreciate all the interaction I got in the comment section. Do the same thing for here. If there's some myths you've heard you want me to maybe test and show on screen, I'll see what I can do. I won't make any promises, but I appreciate it. You guys helped out a lot, and it's kind of interaction I like to see from my videos. But I hope you got something out of this video. Take care, and have a good rest of your day. I'll see you in the next one.